Hello and welcome back. In this tutorial, we're going to add some structural members to this glass panel that we have here, and I'm going to go about it by just placing a point or a line or a structural member from this point to this point, from this point to this point. I'm going to do that throughout all these 4 different points down here up until this central member that we have, structural member that we the structural point that we placed here. There's a couple of different ways I can obviously go about this, but what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to take this piece of geometry here and I'm going to temporarily hide element. I'm going to hover in here and temporarily hide that one too. Take this one, and actually I'm going to take all of this geometry here, or all these points that I have here. So we're going to filter, check none, and I'm going to choose the reference points, not the adaptive points that I already have here, but the reference points I have. And I'm going to hide it just to make it a little bit easier for me to actually snap onto the geometry, or to the point I have here, so I don't miss any one of those points. So the next thing I'm going to be doing is I'm going to create a new family, and or a new structural member, and there's a couple of different ways we can go about doing this. The way we're going to be doing it is by using a command called adaptive components. Now, adaptive components are both very easy and very hard to deal with, and what we're going to be doing is they actually want to snap onto different things, or we can make them want to snap onto different things. So we're going to snap them on from this point up to this point in every single one of these instances. So I go to Revit, icon here, new, and it's a new family. And the family we're actually going to be using is the metric generic model adaptive. There we are. And I go into the floor plan view. I'm going to be placing 2 points. The first point I want to be placing is at the intersection between the 2 vertical reference planes. And the second point I can just place pretty much anywhere. So here's my 2 points. I mark them, and then I tell these 2 points that you are actually going to be adaptive. So I mark the points and I go make adaptive. And the first point I placed actually turned out to be number 1. And then the second point is going to be number 2. And if I had third point, it's obviously would have been number 3. And I'm going to place a point in between these 2. So there it is. I just spline through points, and we can actually leave that as a regular line. And I'm going to save this guy here. I'm going to call it a structural member. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this this adaptive component, and I'm going to load it into my curtain wall panel here. And the reason I want to do that is because if I have this piece, this adaptive point, and I want to place it, sometimes it's very hard to place them in the correct location if you have a lot of geometry added to it. So now it's just bones and no skin really. It's just a whole lot easier to just snap them on. So I clicked on the first point down here, and then I click on the second point here. And it's very important that we place these points that we're being consistent. So we start at the bottom, and then we go up to the top here. Snap them on. Snap them on. There we go. And here's my bones for my structural curtain wall panel. So the next thing I'm going to be doing is I'm going to take these. I'm going into edit family, and I'm going to place some meat to these structural bones that I created here. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this line here. I'm going to make that a reference line. And I'm going to be placing 2 points on top of this line. So these 2 points now, they're dependent upon the line. I'm going to give this one a parameter as well. So mark the first point, and I say start point. To make that type. So take the second point here. So it's going to be end point. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some circle geometry. So I click on the first point to activate this reference plane. Use the circle tool. Draw a circle on that point and make that a permanent dimension string. Oh, I got it. circle tool, and I'm going to make these two also reference points or reference line. So I have these two circles and they're hosted on this line here. So if I move the point, that also means that I am moving the circles. There we go. And I click on the dimension string here and add a parameter and I say starting radius. And we can leave that as type parameter. I say this one is the end radius, and it's also type parameter. So next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to mark the circle, mark the line, mark the second circle, and I'm going to create a form here. And as you notice, this the actual form is being created between the two circles. So I click on this new piece of geometry that I has created, and I'm going to give that a parameter. So I'm going to call it structure material. And we can make that an instance parameter. There we go, okay. Now, since I was a little bit cheeky here, and I actually made the, first I made the dimensions here. I made the parameters so I can change them. So the starting radius of this guy is actually not going to be 2,200 millimeters. In radius, what it's going to be, it's going to be 20 millimeters starting radius. And the end radius, it's actually going to be 10 millimeters. And I can just let that go apply. As you can see, that immediately became a whole lot smaller to visualize. And then I'm going to do the start point. It's going to be placed at 0.05. Place at 0.1. And the end point is going to be placed at 1. And when I go apply, you can actually see here that the it extended quite a bit further down the line. And what I can do now is I can also add a parameter to the structural material that I just made. I can make that steel maybe. I think we have some metal here again. Metal, steel, load into project. So that's fine. That's what we want to have. Apply, okay. And then I load this one back into the curtain panel, and that's going to overwrite the existing and its parameter values. So there we are. You can see that I added some bones to this, or some skin or some flesh to these bones. And here we are. We have a structural panel, and I can just click on these guys here. And I can actually say that this structural material that we have here, they're actually imported. You can see that a different kind of grayscale from this one. But we wanted to have this same one, so I can mark one, use the select all tool, and I can say that the structural material of these the structural members is going to be the same one as in this panel. And you can see that it updated the color here, so to reference the new one. So here's our panel. And what I'm going to be doing now is I'm going to take this panel that I've created, I'm going to save it, save as family, and call it current panel, that's fine. There we are. And then I'm going to load this one back into my conceptual mass environment, and that can take a little bit of time for me, so I'm just gonna pause there and let you guys catch up, and then I'll see you inside the conceptual massing environment. Thank you.